What's going on, guys? This is Splurge bringing you week 1's power rankings for the UPC season 5. So we have 12 players in this league, it's an unbanned league, and so week 1 was certainly interesting. So moving on into the actual power rankings, we come in with Hashok in 12 of the Mississaugas. Also, thing to note is that I will leave all of the replays in the description below, and a link to the Discord if you're interested. So moving on in, so Hashok, you got swept, and I can't really give more than this because we hardly got to see your team's work. Without knowing sets, the crit on the Zekrom only mattered if the Zekrom was at least max HP with some sort of bulk. Also, just so everybody has slightly a wider appreciation here, is that this is the first game that we've seen where Shadow Tag, since it's been released into the wild in the UPC, that we've really seen somebody fall foul of Shadow Tag, and so basically, I'm sorry, but you are the example for the rest of the league of just what can happen. So the focus points for this game, for me, for you, were sending Chansey in after the Zekrom fell. It just wasn't a good idea. As much as it would have been a risk, Latios, in my opinion, would have been the play. Scarf or not, it had the capabilities to revenge after Zekrom went down, and Jimmy would have known this, even if it wasn't Scarf. And I mean, I haven't checked the calcs for Kartana, but I think Kartana with Aerial Ace also had decent amounts of opportunities to revenge there. I mean, admittedly, it may not have won you the game, but it would have brought down the differential and could have let Hax do its thing for a little bit longer. Either way, not a good start, but I live in hope of seeing a Zekrom sweep with Terrain Extenter Coco 1 week. I mean, this is get your mistakes out of the way at the start, and let's see this team work well. Coming in at number 11 is Coach Oak, unfortunately. So, Coach, now, so I want to get this absolutely clear. Like, you guys are amazing, but my issue here is that there wasn't much wrong with how you played, which speaks volumes for either the matchup or the quality of the draft that you've got. I mean, I've got recollections of usually your drafts getting better with time and a couple switches. I mean, I don't know though whether you actually have any left. I haven't checked. On the actual game, as much as you didn't make any mistakes, it's kind of Blaziken went down a little early, and Slurpuff as well kind of went a bit early before its time. Veltal just couldn't be broken due to the support it had, and you looked like you lacked anything for Zygarde. I don't want to be hard on you, but I want to see you in playoffs, and there's a lot to think on here. I still have faith in your playing. Dig in, think hard, win big. Coming in at number 10, we have Bash of the New York Muse. Okay, this is one where I can't really talk much, so I helped you prep a bit. And I was a bit interested when actually watching the replay of the amount of Cobalion v Sableye plays. And I mean, apart from that, Lugia just kind of happened. I mean, it happens to everybody. You underestimate it once, you guess wrong on the set, and this game happens effectively. I mean, not bringing Seismic Toss on Blissey was a bit of a derp, but that's all in hindsight about a sub Lugia. Either way, I don't think we've seen the full extent of this draft just yet. However, just not forcing Sketch to pull out Naga or really push him, that's why you're ending here in 10th. It wasn't bad, it's just that you got dominated this game, and that's not how we like it. Yeah, come back next week, smack somebody across the battlefield, and you'll bounce back up the leaderboard. Coming in at 9th, we have AZ. So the gravity tech on Lando was nice. I think your matchup was a bit of a big ask, but then not bringing Mewtwo was a bit of an interesting call. I can understand the thoughts behind it, but I feel like it could have contributed as well. Morwell, again, too much damage too quickly, but then hindsight is 50-50. There was nothing necessarily dire with your choices this game, but it's like you could have made a couple of different choices, which could have made the game fall out a different way, not sacrificing Lando for rocks, the more wild Scully choices, which you already discussed in the game as well. I mean, it's not bad, room for improvement, got beaten by one of the top teams as well. Coming in at number 8, we have Honor of the Portland Primates. Now, so this actually was a reasonable performance. Not your best, but I mean, Hacks definitely called up, and like you called up Hacks, and it did well for your Spadef drops with Shaman. I mean, I probably would have kept it once we saw the Sceptile come in, but that's personal preference. The weakness policy pop on the Edge-a-Slash, less ideal for the point in the game, and got caught out by some nice tech with the punishment Persian, and your Zydog answers were a little bit few and far between for my liking. You just kind of ended up sacking something and then bringing in a Revenger. I mean, it's a way of going about things, but it's not ideal. And yes, it was a very unfortunate roll on the Volcanion, but I feel at that point the game had already got away from you. It's not your finest hour, but the prep looked to have some interesting additions, which I'll be watching carefully for in the coming weeks. So coming in at number 7, we have his namesake, KHD of the Jersey Pursuits. All I gotta say is congrats, man. First week, first win. Solid prep for a difficult roster and some really nice tech. Yes, you were lucky with the roll on the Volcanion. We just mentioned that. But the Sceptile was well played, as was the Persian. Best set was brought on Zygote, and I'm starting to feel like I underestimated this draft the more I talk about it. The best defense being an unstoppable offense speaks volumes with this draft. I mean, keep it up and you'll stay on the rise. My only reason for keeping you lower down the table is that there were some crucial rolls which fell in your favour, and the game could have gone another way. Could have, might not have, but hindsight, we'll never know. Also, I'd just like to say that I amended my initial wager from win any game to beating Sket to you beating Sketch, and that being the only game you won. And then you would have been number 1 in PR for the rest of the season from that point. Unfortunately, you've already won, so I guess that'll never happen. Coming in at number 6, we have Arceus of the LA Lycan Rocks. So I slated this draft a reasonable amount in post-draft analysis. That's because I didn't really understand it. Since that last video, I've talked to you, and I now actually understand your roster better. And half the ideas that we talked about turned up in this game. I mean, take it how you will, it's both good and bad signs from that. Venu's set was fun and inventive. I could see the intentions with Groudon. You have a nice Sun Sweeper there, possibly, but then Mega Arena also makes it nice and fat. I mean, the thing is, though, is that matchup wasn't really in favour for Venu to go about chomping on Crypto's team, and then you kind of got caught out by some really nice tech. My only qualm is that really, for that particular piece of tech, if I know about it, I feel as if you should, because I'm relatively average. Either way, for a first week, this wasn't a battle to be ashamed of. Bringing it to only a 1-0 against one of the finest drafts and players in this league was solid work nonetheless. which is why you've earned sixth spot. Coming in at number 5, we have Tsunami of the Seattle Salandits. Solid prep, solid win. You held back with your main powerhouses and let the support ones take the brunt of the work, which was impressive to watch. You used your Vettel well and pivoted it out to not take too many risks. A couple of stunts, but it wouldn't be Pokemon if you didn't. I mean, this is a bit of an open and shut case really for you, Tsunami. You did well, you had a good matchup, and you executed the game plan perfectly, in my opinion. But yeah, and so the only reason you're 5th is because the people above you had marginally harder games or pulled off sweeps. Yeah, 5th. In 4th, we have Jimmy of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sorry that your full team name isn't up there. It's kind of too long. But yeah, so solid performance, scouting the Glasgow sets. You passed the sweet play with the Wobbuffet. I mean, I briefly touched on this, but this is the first real performance showing off Shadow Tag's borderline broken abuse. And he played it perfectly. Coincidence or not, but either way, you got the encore you needed with Shadow Tag forcing the Glasgow to stay in, then also using Shadow Tag, you got the necessary setup with the Venomoth, and from there as a calculated sweep, taking a 5-0. Good job, keep it up. Don't expect everything to be that easy. Then we have coming in at number 3. We have there we go. Taco of the Twin City Tacos. I mean, I'm going to say these words quite a couple of times within the next 3. But so this was a case study in what makes this roster a top 3 roster. For the most part, Volcarona, Skuntank and Nihilego turned up just to be sacks, to get Steelers, Xerneas and Lopunny in for free. After that, they did broke core things. My only suggestion from this game is your answers for Quagsire were a bit weak, which could have been more problematic. I mean, either way though, just it was just well played. You solidly played it out. You made the correct plays. You got the moves done. And finish the game quick. Just with the Quagsire, if you need, sometimes you need to finish the game instead of letting it run, so it lets your opponent back in. But yeah, top 3, you're doing awesome. You stayed there. Coming in at number 2, we have Crypto of the Amityville Ampharos. Again, another case study in why we should never let Crypto have Lilylicky. I mean, Lilylicky doing Lilylicky things was unsurprising. I was pleasantly surprised by the Psychium Manafi, perfectly lured and well timed, took out one of the big issues with your opponent's team. Nidoqueen put in the work, as did Mew, and Marshadow in the end didn't have to work too hard. I mean, you had a couple of issues with Incineroar in the opening, but this felt like a champion stating his claim for another huge season. Do me proud, Crypto. And then finally, coming in at number 1, taking the top spot for power rankings for week 1, it is Sketch AV of the Winston Weavars. I mean, I'm hardly surprised really. Yeah, the Lugia set, yeah. I mean, this game shows just what a couple of the stall core can do together. Patience was exercised effectively in this game. It was well played, by far the most dominant display this week, and earns the top position for power rankings. There is only one issue / kind of request from this game, Sketch, and that's just please bring hyper offense more often than stall. It makes life easier when I'm having to do this. But yeah, so that's your top 12. This is your 12 for the power rankings from week 1. We've got week 2 coming up this week. I don't expect power rankings to come out on presumably what will this be, Monday evening every week. This is just fortunate because I don't have much work. But yeah, thanks guys. This has been Splurge of the X Bracknell B drills with the power rankings for UPC Season 5. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, the music, again, Tombo Fry, check him out. Link will be in the link to his page will be in the description. Awesome guy, check him out. Cool. Thank you all for listening. I've been Splurge.